It's going to be Trump and Hillary. Almost a sure thing.
Wow.
Not much of a choice, is it?
Yeah, really.
God. You got the bloviating fool or the lying
Scary
criminal.
yeah, exactly.
God.
All right. Do you want to get out right now, or do you want to do our first segment?
Yeah, let's get our first segment out of the way.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
good. All right.
All right.
And away.
How's your hand doing, by the way?
Not too bad. It's exactly 3 weeks today.
There you go.
Yeah, kids, I can almost squeeze.
Almost. Good thing you're not having to throw a fastball.
No, couldn't do that. Can't bowl, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. And I say long-term. How long-term has it been?
That's scary to think about. My first radio full-time paid job in radio was at KAHI AM, Auburn, California, which is outside of Sacramento in the Sierra Nevada foothills, 1975. So you do the math. That's 41 years.
That's right after Willie Mays retired.
Right after Willie Mays retired. That's right. Yeah.
All right.
The mid-'70s, the period of malaise, when a gloom zone settled over most of America. Post-Watergate, post-Vietnam.
Yeah, really, just right after Vietnam.
Right after I got out of college. Yeah.
Excellent.
Great way to get out of college. Right after Vietnam and Watergate, you're feeling like, oh boy, what else can go wrong?
Yeah.
Then you get into radio.
but back then, radio was a little bigger than it is now. It seems like it's
thank
smaller.
God Almighty. That's true. A little station I worked at, Edward had 15 on-air people. 15 in a little radio station.
Wow.
I mean, they weren't all full time, but
Amazing.
Yeah. Now
Okay.
maybe two, maybe now.
All right, now at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. We're going to mix it up a little bit by miscellaneous sports questions. And in our next segment, who's planning on joining us?
Longtime Warrior ambassador, former coach, former player, Al Attles, who was just always been around the game forever, and is going to have some interesting insight as far as the playoffs are concerned.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out his perspective. Like when a player like Curry goes down, how do you rally the troops around it?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, we're going to ask, when we ask these sports trivia questions, we're going to be giving away some vacations that are not sponsored by the radio station, but by a Lighthouse Resort and Marina.
What's our theme today?
Just miscellaneous sports.
Oh, okay, just miscellaneous.
We'll have to
Kind of mix it up.
kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay, this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are yielding over 8% secured by real estate. Doesn't get any more conservative than that. Please check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Don't touch that dial. When we come back, we're going to have Al Adams on Sports Econ 101.
I got a phone call the other day. This person said, we can lower your credit card interest rate to 1%.
Okay.
And they said, how much are you paying right now? I said, I don't know, 12 or 50. Oh, we can get it down to 1%. And then all of a sudden the phone went dead. I don't know what happened. That sounded like some kind of a scam to me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. I got a call one time from someone claiming to be from Wells Fargo, and it turned out he really was from Wells Fargo. He actually did a good job.
I got another call from somebody from the Marriott who promised me a one-night stay at a real nice, like their suite, if I would come to a 2-hour real estate presentation.
Yeah, the typical timeshare thing.
You just show up for 2 hours.
But only one night, though?
One night plus a free dinner.
Okay. Depends
Yeah, I asked my wife if she wanted to do it. I said, if you want to do it, we can do it. She goes, no.
Yeah, she didn't like that. I mean, he was the same way.
No, I don't like that.
She won't do that.
Yeah, no. She likes doing the thing that you've got us on.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fun.
Yeah, you don't have to attend any timeshare presentation.
That's right. That's right. That's a drag. I've had to do that a couple of times. I've done that. I think it's because we had a bad experience in Mexico once.
Oh, Mexico? Oh, yeah.
We went. Colette got us hornswoggled in this thing in Mexico. And it was.
They say there's no free lunch in Mexico.
Oh God, no. Not answering.
No, it's not even ringing.
There
Oh,
we
there
go.
we go.
12 to 4 chance. Bill just drove in his fifth run of the game.
This is his home number, right?
It is.
Yeah. Maybe his wife usually answers. How old is he now?
Gonna be close to 80.
Wow.
That's interesting. No answer, no cell phone.
No answering machine either. Okay. Well, you want to do a segment and then we'll do it next time?
Try to see. Let me make sure I got the right number here. 510-339-2332.
Yep.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yeah.
Let me try it one more time. Oops.
It's weird. Al usually is pretty reliable.
Maybe I dialed wrong. The lines are crossed.
Lines are crossed. Lines are crossed. Nobody's answering the phone. Pick up the phone. Well, if we have to make it to the show then.
Yeah,
Well, Sally Forth. We usually do a pretty good show, just the two of us.
yeah.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
Try and do it after one
Okay.
segment again.
All right.
Housekeeping to take care of there?
What's that?
The housekeeping to take care of there?
No. No, I was just thinking a couple of things we could talk about. Jake Arrieta is flattered by PEDs.
Oh, is that right?
Rumors, yeah. And then, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin. Then Sam Bradford's demanding a trade 2 months after taking $35 million to stay with the Eagles.
That guy. He's break.
So stay with the Rams.
Yeah, he should.
That's right.
Yeah. Belt 3 hits, 5 RBIs. Duffy 3 hits, scored 3 times. Panic 2 hits, scored 3 times. Hens 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Samardzija 1 hit, 2 RBIs. Span has scored twice. Double, 2 triples, 3 doubles. Poor Padres all over the place today. I love it.
Okay. There we go.
All right.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Now, Al's not on the phone yet. We'll have to get him on the next segment.
Hopefully.
In the meantime, I was just looking on the internet, and I found out that Jake Arrieta is flattered by PED rumors. So apparently he's doing so well that people are...
Well, that's one way of looking at it, I guess. I mean, if you're going to, get hit with rumors that you're using performance-enhancing drugs, and you're pitching so well and people don't think you could do it without it, maybe it's an insult to some people, maybe it's not.
Or maybe the people who were hitting before were using steroids, and now that they're not, they can't hit very well.
That's a possibility.
But it's so funny, it reminds me, because he says he's flattered. There was a time when my wife was doing figure competition, and I was at the gym, trying to stay in shape myself. And I remember I had a friend of mine who was about 60 years old, but he judged bodybuilding contests.
Right.
And so when all the steroid thing was going on with Canseco and Clemens and all that stuff, I was going, man, I wish people would accuse me of being on steroids. He said, hey, Edward, at your age, be happy if you get accused of being on the Atkins stuff. I said, yeah. So I guess it is kind of, if you're not doing drugs and people assume you are, it is a little flattering.
I guess. The thing is, there was such an epidemic of it for so many years that we got so used to it, and now it's supposedly been vanquished from pro sports, although it hasn't.
No.
I mean, it's still around. It's just not as widespread as it was. It's certainly not in baseball. I mean, baseball, you see evidence that I think baseball, more than any other sport, probably has done away with it just because the sanctions were so heavy. But think about it, the Giants back in the Barry Bonds era had probably, from what I understand, and I was covering the team, about 15 of the 25 players were using steroids.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Talking about like 2002 when they
Yeah, you know, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they, you know, if that didn't help them win the pennant. Why not?
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. We talked about this before. It's like, you know, for the kind of money that you can make with the statistics that you can produce,
Sure.
it's almost worth it.
Well,
You know,
I mean, if you get kicked out of the game, it's not. But
no,
I mean,
not kicked out. But I mean, even if you get a suspension.
Yeah, no. I mean, I look at Melky Cabrera a couple years ago after all the hue and cry, and here's a guy who not only was doing it, but then tried to cover it up in a real clumsy manner. Never apologized. Walked out on his teammates. I mean, that guy to me was really the scum of the earth. I hate to say that. I don't know the guy personally, but to not only use steroids, then lie about it, try to cover it up, and then after you've been caught, not to even go to your teammates and say, hey, I'm sorry, but you know something? It turned out to be a great thing for the Giants because he wasn't a part of that team. Gregor Blanco was, and that was one of the reasons the Giants won the World Series that year because Blanco had a great postseason.
And Melky went to Toronto, I think.
Toronto, and I think he's with the White Sox now, but he's never been the same player. He was putting up ungodly numbers during the first half of 2012 because he was doing steroids.
Yeah, in fact, I remember it was right after the All-Star game, I think.
Yeah.
He did. Did he get the MVP?
He was MVP in the All-Star game. Anyway, it was a bizarre. I mean, he was an instant hero in San Francisco, and then all of a sudden, boom! You know, he's gone, and you haven't heard a hide nor hair of him since. Oh, you have if you're a hardcore fan, but it's not much.
So maybe those steroids really did help him. Huh?
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they helped him.
I mean, I can see where sometimes there's some of these steroids help you just recover faster.
They help you recover faster. You can work out longer. You can build up more stamina, but the long-term effects of them depends on what you've been doing and how long you've been doing it. It's not good.
So what else can they come up with to help people recover without it enhancing,
Boy, that's a good question. I mean, other than just, good, hard, smart exercise patterns and eating patterns, there's really not. I mean, let's face it. This problem has been an epidemic in the world of cycling for years. That's why I never really have followed cycling for that very reason because there's been so much use so much abuse.
That just came out a few years ago.
Yeah, but there were rumors of it though. I mean, Lance Armstrong was just the tip of the iceberg. It's sad, That's why I hate to say it. I just don't consider bicycling a legitimate sport.
Oh no, I never did either. I mean, steroids or not, I just look at it. I can appreciate the stamina that these guys have to go through, but it was never exciting for me. I couldn't understand how people. I'd go to the gym and I'd see people watching it on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you watching?
I don't know.
I mean, even at least with race car driving, you can. I mean, that doesn't excite me either, except when there's a crash. Of course, when there's a bicycle crash, that is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is pretty exciting. Yeah, you're right.
Hockey, with the fights.
Yeah, I think that's what I hate to say with hockey. Hockey gets a great following with people in North America, especially in Canada and the northern cities. But generally speaking, I think a lot of people are drawn to hockey because of the violence of it, just as they are to football. So.
Except for boxing, there's not enough violence.
Not enough violence. Well, why do you think ultimate fighting has become such a popular sport?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you see these guys, they're literally killing each other. Jumping off of turnbuckles and kicking each other in the head. It's ridiculous.
Well, I've heard that the end of a civilization is when you get people being more spectators than participants.
Yeah.
When it gets violent. I mean, the end of the Roman Empire.
Sure.
You had hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it was at least
gladiators.
People, gladiators.
Gladiators, charioteers, and charioteers fighting for the finish line and running each other over, and it was terrible stuff.
But the fans loved it.
The fans loved it. They need that diversity, or that diversion, I should say.
So I wonder if we
distraction.
Go back to a time when basically ultimate fighting would be until you kill someone.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I think about the old days. Fighting used to not have a set number of rounds.
Yeah.
They fight bare knuckle fights for hours.
Yeah.
I don't know how these guys stood up.
Well, that's the thing is,
they were real men in those days. Real men.
Okay, but after let's say 60 rounds,
I know.
How much energy would you have?
Well, not only how much energy, but how about your face? Probably.
Yeah.
Would probably look like hamburger meat after that.
And I guess in back then they still had the Marcus of Queensberry rule.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you couldn't, you can't bite or scratch or any of that. Of course,
Yeah.
well,
all the fun stuff is out the window.
But I can see, the Ultimate Fighting. I mean, I've seen some bouts, and I've seen, just typical TV or highlights, and it is kind of interesting, except for when they just hold on to a guy and they just beat him into submission.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get the allure of it. Quite frankly, I can see boxing
because you're a gentleman.
Well, I can see boxing. I enjoy watching a good boxing match, but Ultimate Fighting,
But boxing, though, it's got to be a good boxing match.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times these guys, they're standing around and a quick jab, and then standing around and get a clinch. It's got to be like the movies like Rocky.
Well, like the light heavyweights and the middleweights and the lightweights, they usually put on a good show.
Yes,
the heavyweights are usually the reason boxing, I think, has kind of fallen off the face of the earth is that the heavyweight division has just not been very intriguing the last 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
It really hasn't. How many Muhammad Ali's and Joe Frazier's and Ken Norton Jr.'s?
Or Mike Tyson.
Even Mike Tyson, yeah. He was a brawler, but he was fun to watch.
Yeah. Even when he bit ears off.
I'll never forget when he lost to Buster Douglas. I think this was about 1990. And it was such a stunner. I mean, Buster Douglas was a nobody. And he never did much after that, but that was his moment in the sun.
But in watching that, too, it looked like Tyson was, like, sleepy.
I just think he this happens in sports. You overlook your opponent, and your opponent has nothing to lose, and they just happen to catch you at the wrong time.
Well, he must have, because even Buster, you watch him, and even in that fight, he didn't look like a great fighter.
Didn't he, as I recall, didn't he actually he didn't knock Tyson out, but I think he knocked him down for a substantial number of seconds. Yeah.
No, definitely.
It's like, whoa.
Holy smokes, who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
It's like, as you look at him, too, he doesn't look like a boxer. I mean, he kind of a little heavy.
Yeah. I think Buster Douglas is dead now, isn't he?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did pass,
Did Tommy Gunn, did he die?
I don't know. I know Tyson's still doing pretty well.
Yeah, what's he doing now?
He's
out of prison.
Oh yeah, no, he's doing very well. I mean, he's making
one-man show
making the talk show rounds. He was doing he was doing a theater show.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. Yeah. Definitely an interesting guy.
No, he's definitely. I would love to see like him versus Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here we're going to cut to our first commercial break. Here, ready? What running back is the only player to rush for 2,000 yards in college and as a pro in one season?
Wow.
Right. The first email with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. And the Vacations Lighthouse does charge a $100 cleaning fee. You got to pay someone to clean those cabins. So anyway, you email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. What running back is the only player to rush for 2,000 yards in college and as a pro in one season? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
I have to make a phone call here.
It's hot in here.
Does it?
I'm used to wearing short sleeves and shorts. I have a presentation to make.
Yeah, hey, it's Bruce McGowan out on the West Coast calling. How are you doing? Good. I just got a text from Nick Shahara. Says you guys probably are going to want updates on the Warriors Rockets playoff game tonight from Oakland. Is that true? Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hey, good. How you doing, Mike? You want some updates tonight from... Oops. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Great. Okay, thanks a lot. Take care. That's good to know.
I hope they're going to pay for that.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, get a little money from that. Hopefully Al will be there. If he is not, no.
When did you talk to him? Today?
Yeah, maybe he thought 3:30. I don't know. Do we usually go on 3:30?
No. This building, it's got bats.
What's that?
Bats.
Bats in this building?
No, not this one. One that I have over in Berkeley.
Really? Bats. That's a good sign, though. That means the building is in good health and clean. Bats are very clean animals. Did you know that? I bet you didn't know that. Yeah.
I know they get rid of all all the little bugs.
They get rid of the bugs. They get rid of the rats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although our cat last night brought in a small bird about this big, and he was torturing it. I could hear all this noise. You know, the bird flapping around, the bird squawking, and the cat. I come out, and the cat's like this. I got the bird in his mouth, the bird's going like this. I take the bird out, put him outside. He's like, all his feathers are all messed up. You know, I'm thinking, oh God, he's probably got a broken wing or something. But you know, he wasn't there in the morning, so I suppose he either got
later, like, some animal got him.
Sounds like Al's not there.
Yeah.
I wonder if something came up.
Whatever happened to the mouse?
That mouse disappeared, and we never found it. I think we left the door open. I think he went outside. Hopefully, yeah. Okay. That cat has been bringing in more critters lately.
No owl.
No owl. I'm sorry about that.
We'll have to try him one more time at the
One more time. One more time. As Duke Ellington would say, let's do it one more once.
One more once?
Yeah, one more once. One more time.
Okay.
I just looked at my calendar. 25 of the last 40 days, I managed to get in a session of body surfing. 25 of the last 40 days.
That's not in good shape.
Yeah, well, relatively speaking. Relatively. I was out yesterday at Rodeo Beach.
It was good weather then, wasn't it?
It was okay. Yeah, it was kind of partly cloudy, a little breezy, but not like today. Today's been kind of weird.
Yeah.
First we had rain, then we had wind, now it's sunny. Who knows what's going to happen. It's supposed to be kind of warm tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, still along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our first trivia question. What running back is the only player to rush for 2,000 yards in college and as a pro in one season? Not in the same year.
Obviously not. Boy, that's a good one.
One of my favorite.
O.J. Simpson.
No, you know what's funny? O.J. was my favorite.
Yeah.
And then this gentleman came along.
Later than O.J.?
Yeah.
More recently? Or just
no, probably still.
Marcus Allen?
No, it was before him.
Before Allen. So
actually, no, I got to think about that. Maybe around the same time.
Sometime in the 80s?
Come on, played for the Lions.
Oh, Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders,
Yeah, Barry Sanders, who was smart enough to quit while he was ahead. He was, I think, 30 years old.
But wasn't he like really close to breaking the record?
He was, but he didn't care. You know, he just wanted to get out while his health was still intact. Smart guy. And his son was playing for Stanford for a while. I think he's still big. I don't know if he's graduated or I don't think he got drafted. I think he's got one more year. I think he's still down on the farm.
So for years, OJ was my favorite.
Right.
In the early 70s. And then it's funny, if you watch clips of Barry, he was a more exciting runner than OJ.
Well, he was smaller. He could change direction faster. He had that ability to just, slip out of tackles so easily because he was the little guys, and he wasn't a big guy. I think he was about 5'10", are harder to bring down. Remember Frank Gore with the 49ers, 5'9". You know, he's like a little bull. He just finds that little hole in between all the big bodies. I mean, I think it's the same theory in basketball why Steph Curry has been so effective. Steph knows how to use his smaller size to kind of win his way around all these big guys. And speaking of Steph Curry, that's really tough for the Warriors to have to play without him. Hopefully he will be back in a few weeks. If not, I don't see the Warriors ever advancing to the conference, to the championships this year, because I don't think they can beat San Antonio without him. He's supposed to be back in 2 weeks. If he is back in 2 weeks, that's a big if. He's got a sprained knee. How effective will he be after being out for the better part of 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be tentative or if he'll still be, barely injured.
Now, as we speak, the Warriors are on the verge of knocking the Rockets off, which they should. Interesting things happening in the Western playoffs. How about Portland taking advantage of the Clippers, who have now lost Chris Paul and Blake Griffin for the rest of the postseason, pretty much has doomed their chances. But Portland wasn't supposed to beat the Clippers. It was supposed to beat the Warriors and Clippers in the next round, and now it's going to be the Warriors and probably Portland. And I tell you, I don't think the Warriors, without Steph Curry, they're not going to have an easy time at Portland. Portland beat the Warriors once this year and beat them convincingly.
Yeah, they have a very good team.
Yeah, good backcourt. I mean, between Damian Lillard from Oakland and that other guy, his name is escaping me right now, McCollum. I mean, they're C.J. McCollum. They're tough. That backcourt is excellent.
It's interesting. Chris Paul, he broke his right finger.
Right.
His right hand. I wonder if he broke his left.
If he'd be able to play?
Yeah, because if they just tape it, if he shoots right-handed.
I would think so. It depends on the severity of the break and what finger it is. And sounds to me like, he apparently just had a collision with somebody.
Jammed it.
That's a shame.
Well, I don't know if it was a collision with somebody or I think it was the ball.
Was it the ball?
Yeah, I think it was reaching in.
Reaching in and not in.
It jammed it.
Yeah, that happens.
But more than a jam,
that's tough. Well, you hope to have your injuries out of the way by the time you get to the postseason, but injuries happen in the postseason.
Well, I really appreciated Bob Myers, the general manager for the Warriors, in the interview after Steph got injured, and he said, you know what, nobody's to blame.
No.
And I mean,
who was to blame was James Harden. James Harden was playing sloppy defense. He was kind of lackadaisically drifting back, and one of his teammates, I can't remember the guy's name, the Eastern European guy, tall guy, tripped over him because he thought James was moving back. He thought Harden was going to be moving back faster. Tripped and left a sweat stain on the floor, and that's which seconds later Curry hit that.
Well,
so if Harden had been doing what he should have been doing, the Warriors wouldn't be in this fix.
Wait a minute. I thought that I can't remember his name either, but a tall one.
Yeah.
I thought he actually slipped.
No, he did. He did. He slipped. He tripped on Harden. He tripped. He didn't see Harden.
I have to go back to
Harden actually inadvertently he tripped on Harden. He didn't see. He thought Harden was going to continue moving backward. Harden slowed down, and he didn't slow down, and he tripped over Harden.
Now I'm going to have to watch the replay because I didn't see that he tripped over. I thought he also slipped on the same wet spot.
Well, just think about Harden deciding not to play strong defense, and why ever you wouldn't in a close game at the end of the first half, I don't know. That created the whole scenario, which led to the Warriors losing Steph Curry, which could be disastrous. So it's amazing how little, inconsequential things seemingly lead to catastrophic circumstances sometimes.
And it was one of those situations where last year people were saying, the Warriors shouldn't have won because Kyrie Irving was hurt and
Kevin Love was hurt.
And
they didn't have to play the Clippers.
Spurs or the Clippers.
Yeah, that's right, or the Spurs.
Yeah, and so this year it's like, okay, they're relatively healthy. They had some injuries, but for the most part, everybody's healthy now, and they potentially could go through those teams.
Yeah.
And now it's like, Steph's hurt, so.
Yeah, well, they've got a built-in excuse, but they don't want to use that as an excuse.
Well, they beat Houston.
They beat Houston without him, and they should be able to win the next series, I would think. But there's the key, I think, with the Warriors is Andre Iguodala. Iguodala has never been a guy since he's been with the Warriors who has had to really step forward offensively. He's such a great
defensively though.
But defensively, he's a great player. The other night, though, he scored 23 points, so they may depend upon him. Hit a bunch of threes. They may depend upon him more. And of course, Klay Thompson's going to have to pick it up a little bit. And Livingston's going to have to pick it up a little bit. Livingston, you're not looking for the points, but you're looking for the defense. He is a terrific defender.
And McAdoo, they just need to only put him in to give everyone else a rest.
Well, McAdoo and Clark are kind of like their and Rush are sort of their last guys on the bench, but they can. All those guys, I think, when you put players, even mediocre players, on a great team, it lifts their level of play. It just does. So.
Well, as long as the other team doesn't score too much, then you give your main players a rest.
Yeah, but look at Ian Clark the other night in the loss.
Big three,
he hit a couple of big three-pointers and almost won the game. So, and Ian Clark, who's ever heard of him? He's a guy who gets maybe 8 minutes a game.
What is he, about 6'2"?
6'2", about 180, yeah. He's built like Steph Curry, little guy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else we got here? Sam Bradford, changing subjects here. Sam Bradford apparently is demanding a trade 2 months after taking $35 million to stay with the Eagles.
Well, I guess he doesn't like playing for the Eagles, huh? It's a dysfunctional organization. I don't know.
Could be that, or apparently maybe it's due to potentially Jared Goff or Carson Wentz maybe being
drafted by the Eagles. That's right, because the Eagles have such a high draft pick, don't they? Yeah.
So, at first when you first read it, you go, what is this guy thinking, right? But then you go, well, wait a minute. If they're going to take some new players who maybe can take his spot, and he doesn't want to lose that spot.
Yeah, but he's going to be traded, and somebody else is going to pick him up for that kind of they're going to have to pay him that much? I don't see that. It's like Colin Kaepernick. You think the Denver Broncos want to pay Colin Kaepernick $11.5 million?
So what happens is do they basically say, no, we'll pay you $7 million?
Well, they're going to have to work out a deal where the 49ers, I think, are going to have to pay the balance of the contract to get rid of him. And I think they should. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the team if he stays around.
So how does that work if basically a team says, why would another team want to pay that much if they don't have to?
Well, that's right. They wouldn't, and what they would say is, look, we'll take this guy off your hands. You want him gone? We would like him, but we're not going to pay that kind of money. So here's the deal: you pay 80% or 60% or whatever, and we'll pay the rest.
Now, if another team is willing to pay more, then they could trade him that way.
And see, that brings up an intriguing situation. Would the 49ers say, okay, we'll give him to you, we'll pay the majority of his contract, but we don't have to give, how much of that contract we're going to be responsible for? That's up to the two sides. But
and then does the player have the right to veto?
Oh yeah, no question. I think, but he's had ongoing conversations with John Elway, the general manager of the Broncos. So there is some. I would not be surprised to see Kaepernick in a Bronco uniform.
Well, he kind of reminds me of Elway a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Elway probably likes him. Goes, yeah, this guy reminds me of me.
Well, another thing, the 49ers are going to say, look, if we're going to pick up some of that contract, we want to maybe they can up the price for him. Maybe they can get more than just a draft pick. Because right now they're looking at like a second or third rounder. Maybe they can get a first rounder. I don't know. I mean, Denver's desperate for quarterback. Brock Osweiler is not the answer for that team. Well, actually, he left, didn't he? Brock Osweiler left, so they don't have a quarterback. Broncos have really lost a lot of players.
Is it possible that, let's say, the 49ers could get more for the guy's contract and pocket the difference? Does that happen?
Boy, your guess is as good as mine.
It works.
The machinations that go on, when they work these deals out are sometimes they just blow me away. I was like, what in the world is going on here?
I mean, imagine, okay, so the 49ers, let's say they get a quarterback they want.
Right.
Now they got Colin, and it's he's paying, let's just say his salary is $7 million, but he's worth more than that. But they already have a good quarterback.
Sure.
I guess they could say, listen, you want him, you got to pay $10 million.
Yeah.
I guess that's possible.
Yeah,
right?
anything's possible. I don't know if anybody's stupid enough to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I see back and boy, he just.
Well, if you get him in the right circumstances and he's healthy and confident, Colin Kaepernick is still a terrific quarterback. I still think the guy's salvageable.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's going to happen with the Niners for a number of reasons. Number one, he doesn't have the supporting cast. And number two, they just need to get him out of there because just a lot of negative vibes going on.
Well, that's the thing is these guys are not robots.
No.
So that's one of the reasons that say the Warriors work so well is they work together as a team.
Yeah.
Nobody's got the ego apparently.
No.
All right, we're going to cut to our second commercial break here. We're talking miscellaneous trivia. In May 2001, which member of the Cubs was intentionally walked a record 5 times by the Reds in an effort to break the record shared by Roger Maris and Gary Templeton? So apparently they said, let's give this guy the record. Let's intentionally walk him 5 times.
That's an interesting situation. Yeah.
The first email with the correct answer wins free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. In May 2001, which member of the Cubs was intentionally walked a record 5 times by the Reds in effort to break the record shared by Roger Maris and Gary Templeton? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
13-5 in favor of the Giants.
Let's try the game's not over yet.
Duffy's had 3 hits.
Spread it out.
Scored 3 times. Belt's 3 hits, 5 RBIs. Pence's 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Trevor Brown has singled in a run. Samar just singled in 2 runs. Blanco just singled in a run. Span has singled in 2 runs.
Trevor Brown's been a good backup catcher.
Yeah, he's at 259. Has 8 RBIs, reserve role. So Samardzija went 5 2/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, struck out 7 walks, 2, and gave up a home run. And Law has pitched 3rd of an inning, and now it looks like Osich is in.
What time is it?
What's that?
What time? I mean, what time is
it? They're only in the. It's 13-5. They're only in the 7th inning.
Wow. Anyway, let me go pee one more time.
Okay.
Maybe we can get Al in the last.
Segment.
We're drinking a lot of water.
Lou. tried him again. I don't know what's going on.
No?
Something must have come up. He's usually very reliable. Maybe the phone's not working. I don't know. What the heck? Oh well.
All right. What do you want to cover in the last segment?
I guess some NBA.
Right.
Talk a little NBA. Or what about the
Oh, so
round
next
ball?
week we'll have Bob Dorfman.
Yeah, I know Bob. He's a good guy. How do you know Bob?
Steve Baker just basically
Oh, good.
said, hey, he's
Yeah, he's a good guy. Good.
yeah, be good sports econ.
Definitely.
All right, ready? Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our second trivia question. In May 2001, which member of the Cubs was intentionally walked a record 5 times by the Reds in an effort to break the record shared by Roger Maris and Gary Templeton?
Sammy Sosa?
No? Come on, name another famous Cub.
Another famous Cub.
It ain't Ernie Banks.
It ain't Ernie Banks. It's too late for Mark Grace or Ryan Sandberg because they're back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
The Hawk.
Andre
Andre
Dawson.
Dawson,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Good guy, too.
If I were facing him, I'd intentionally walk him 5 times too.
Better believe it. Remember when he was teamed up with Warren Cromartie and Ellis Valentine? That was a great outfield. And Ellis Valentine, I heard several players tell me that he was the toughest, meanest player. He used to sit in the back of the Expos bus, and he'd smoke a cigarette. And the Expos at the time had a manager. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Felipe. It was before Felipe Alou. And one of the players said, hey, Ellis is in the back smoking a cigarette. He shouldn't be smoking. You tell him to put that cigarette out. I'm not telling him.
I don't remember that guy.
Yeah, and Ellis Valentine, big guy. He had about 4 or 5 really good years, late 70s, early 80s, and then he got hurt. Went over, played in Japan. Power hitter, not a high average hitter, but he hit around 280. He was an all-star a couple of years. I think he maybe even was an MVP in an all-star game one year. Might have been. I can't remember which year it was.
For some reason, I don't remember him. I do remember Eric Schau throwing at, he apparently didn't try to throw at Andre, but hit him right in the head.
Eric Schau was an interesting guy. He was a member of Eric Schau was a member of the John Birch Society. For those who don't know, it was an extremist right-wing organization that saw communist plots everywhere. And he was very bright and a very likable guy and died of some kind of weird disease. I think actually maybe it was a drug overdose. It was very strange.
Really?
Yeah, he was only like 34, 35 years old and just, he was still playing, I believe, but he just died. It was very strange. Found him in a hotel room.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I remember, I still remember, I think it was on Sports Illustrated, there was a picture of a baseball coming right at Andre Dawson.
Oh, is that right?
Like, it practically, knocked him out for a quick couple seconds. When he got up, he charged them out.
Interesting. Another thing about Eric Schau, he gave up Pete Rose's record-breaking hit, and they had the long ceremony for Pete Rose at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, naturally so. And Schau just decided, I'm going to sit down. He just sat down in the middle of the field. literally sat down behind the mound. Somebody asked him, wasn't that a kind of a disrespectful thing to do? And he goes, no, I was tired.
I guess he could have walked off the field into the dugout temporarily.
But none of his teammates did, so he just sat down.
Or he should have just said, here, give me a chair.
Yeah, bring a chair.
Enjoy this thing.
I remember the old days when the bullpen used to bring in people in golf carts from the bullpen.
I remember that.
What the heck is that all about? You can't walk.
I forgot about that.
You can't walk 300 yards from the bullpen? Come on.
300 feet.
Or whatever. Yeah, 300 feet. Jeez. God.
Well, who was it? He played for the Reds, and he was a pitcher, and he would run in the outfield, and he was hated. Remember, he was going to get traded to New York. He goes, I'm not playing there.
Outfielder or
pitcher.
A relief pitcher?
Yeah, relief pitcher. Through like.
Well, I remember that Craig Leverett, the left-hander of the Giants, used to run out of the bullpen. He'd do that. I can't remember somebody on the Reds. Was it Rob Dibble, maybe?
No, it wasn't Dibble.
Yeah.
It was a guy who.
Not one of the nasty boys. Not Randy Myers and Norm Charles.
No. But he came like just right after that.
He used to run out of the bullpen.
Yeah, because he was a young guy, and he was
trying to impress everybody.
Well, he was kind of a redneck from the South. And he was either going to get traded to New York, or somehow he showed up in New York.
Okay.
Or maybe it was against New York or something like that. And just like, what kind of place is this? He didn't like all.
I remember there was a pitcher for I think it was with the Braves, relief pitcher. He was a big guy who got himself into trouble for saying some things.
You know what? Maybe it was the Braves.
Yeah.
Rather than the Reds.
I can't remember the guy's name though. he burned out really quickly.
Yeah.
He was had a couple of good years, and then he just sort of burned out. But he was a real volatile player, and he said a lot of things that were politically incorrect, and
That's what
just got himself into trouble.
See, we can't even remember his name now.
Yeah, well, maybe it's worth it. We don't remember his name because he's not worth remembering.
And,
a lot of players like that.
Did the Braves and Minnesota Twins finally win a game?
Uh,
They were 0 for like a million not too long ago.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, well, I mean, I would hope so. I mean,
Yeah,
the season, as we speak, is about 20 games old. They better have won a game.
Yeah, they've won a few games.
Yeah, won a few games. The team that I really like seeing do well is Washington with Dusty Baker as the new manager. I mean, that team is going to be a force to reckon with. Yeah.
I just hope that Bryce Harper keeps his, I wouldn't say composure, but he seems a little bit too full of himself, sort of like Yasiel Puig.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a live wire.
Live wire, that's a good.
Yeah,
and the thing is, if these guys can just keep it under wraps, just let your baseball do your talking for you.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. Baseball players, I think, when they become real outgoing and sort of flashy and kind of braggadocious, they attract more attention because they're around the media every day, and it becomes more of a story. Whereas in the other sports, not so much.
Well, I think part of it too is it's a little bit more individualistic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you're up to bat, you're the only guy on your team that's playing right there.
And it's so funny too because in baseball there's this unspoken decorum that you're supposed to observe. You're not supposed to flip your bag. You're not supposed to look like you're having a good time. And I've always thought that's a little extreme.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, I like to see guys.
Yeah, I like to show some emotion.
Yeah.
I love it when a pitcher wins a game and he fist pump. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, he's not, and as long as he's not like showing up the other team by doing it.
Yeah, it's one thing to Cadillac around the bases, to flip the bat and to beat your chest or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to do a little bit of celebration. I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, well, I tell you, there's one bat flip I specifically remember by a guy that probably no one even remembers. Tim Lake of the St. Louis Cardinals against the Giants, and it was like the way you flip the bat. It was just.
It was like he was sort of, flipping him the bird.
No. I mean, well, the way I looked at it was, it wasn't so much showing up the Giants. It was more of just like, that's it. I did it. I won the game for us.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't flippant, so to speak, but it was exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how often does Tim Lake win a game?
Exactly. I know.
You got to celebrate when you do it.
Like after the show, we're gonna have to YouTube Tim Lake, St. Louis Cardinals
flipping the bat.
There
you go.
Winning the game against the Giants.
It's on there. So YouTube has everything. Yeah. They probably have you and me on there somewhere.
Probably somewhere.
Yeah.
In fact, next to Google, I think it's the largest search engine.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. It's amazing, and everybody posts things there. I guess they have to go through what you post and figure out whether it's in good taste or whether somebody else has posted it or whether there's going to be copyright problems. But man, if you want to, the other day I was thinking, it'd be kind of fun to watch the highlights of this football game back in the 70s I went to. Sure enough, it was there, the whole game, the broadcast, the actual broadcast of the entire game. And not even was it there, but the local radio play-by-play was superimposed over the play instead of the television play-by-play.
That's always fun when they do that.
I love it.
Yeah. I like sometimes like ESPN will do that. Where, they'll have the regular broadcast and then they'll do like the home team radio.
I love it when they do that. The home team radio guys are the best. They really are. It just shows you how much better the radio announcers are too when they do the play-by-play because they have to be the eyes and ears. They have to do the whole thing.
Which you've been doing for many years.
I did a little bit of it, not as much as I'd like. I think any broadcaster who gets into sports announcing, in the back of their mind, thinks I'd like to be a major league announcer. And I got to do 13 games in 2003 for the Giants, so I got to live my little dream.
There you go. Yeah.
And something interesting? The Giants didn't lose a single one of those games.
Now, if they knew that, they should have.
They should have kept me. That's right. I'd still be doing the games.
That's right. Yeah. And they'd be 162-0.
That's exactly right. They would have won 5 World Series instead of just 3.
Yeah, instead of just 3.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think about how baseball is something I would like to do play-by-play. I probably would be terrible at football, terrible at hockey.
But baseball you can do.
Yeah, basketball it would still
if you know the sport, that's the key. I mean, the great thing about baseball is you're around it all. If you're around the game a lot, and you can be because there's a game virtually every day, you can pick up all the little idiosyncrasies. Whereas football requires a lot of more preparation, a lot more film study, and basketball, just requires you to just be able to see things like a hawk.
Yeah. So when you're doing play-by-play baseball, with all the various statistics, does that just show up on a screen?
Now, usually, and now in this day and age, yeah, most people have screens in front of them. When I was doing it, there were screens. That was only like 12 years ago. But up until about 2000, you had everybody had their little sheaf of notes, and that's basically what they did.
So eventually, when you get, and that's Al Addles on the phone. Tell him we are going to call him right back.
We will. We'll give him a call.
Okay,
right back.
actually, you know what? Let's see if we can get him on right now.
Yeah.
All right. So keep talking, Bruce. While I get this done.
Yeah, we were supposed to get Al Addles on earlier. I think something came up, and we'll get some quick thoughts from him before the show ends. That talking about the Warriors, because Al, of course, coached the Warriors, played for the Warriors, and has worked in the front office of the Warriors for many, many years. So it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say if in fact we can get him on there. Al has been involved with the Warrior organization, believe it or not, since 1959. So that's going back.
Amazing.
That's going back 56 years, 57 years. And that was when they were in Philadelphia, and called the Philadelphia. Oh, sounds like he's busy now.
We're just going to have to let him go this time.
We'll just do it next time. Yeah. We tried. I
still love his famous. Me and Will scored 117 points.
That's right. That's a good name for Al Addles.
Yeah, I would have liked to ask him, what would he do with these kind of injuries going on? How does he rally the troops? Because I tell you, when I hear Roz, when she gives her little spiel about, I talked to Steve
You're
Kerr.
talking about the Warriors' color announcer on the sidelines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I hear the comments that she says that he makes, they're always this really kind of soft-spoken, encouraging. All right, guys, we got to play better defense. And I'm just thinking, I try to wring some of these guys' necks sometimes,
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Throw the ball away. Come on.
Come on, jeez. Well, what I find is interesting is listening to, sometimes listening to the little sideline talks from little pep talks from the coaches as they talk to their players. And I was listening to, last night I was watching a couple nights ago, I was watching the Clippers and the Blazers, and Doc Rivers was laying into his guys. He's looking around at different players and goes, come on, get your head up, get your head out of your, what. I mean, he was saying it pretty bluntly.
When his son got hurt, he just kind of just like another player, didn't go on the floor, just like
you got to be that way. It's a tough world. It's a tough old world.
Yeah, he looks like he could be a little tough on his kids, so to speak.
Yeah, I would think so.
All right, we got another minute before we have to cut the break. What do you want to finish up with?
Well, I'm just going to say I think the team to beat for the NBA championships right now is
Spurs.
No, I think it's Cleveland. I think Cleveland is playing.
Good point.
Cleveland's playing great ball. They're healthy. LeBron seems to be energized. They're showing a lot more fervor and a lot more moxie than they did late in the season, and they have a much easier road than the Western teams. I think they're the team to beat right now.
I think, you're right. LeBron is on a mission.
Yeah.
He didn't like how last year turned out.
Yeah, and he can't complain really about how last year turned out because they were short-handed.
Yeah.
So he's got nobody to blame.
I'll say not so much a chip on your shoulder, but more of a goal.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to cut to our third and final trivia question. Ready?
Yeah.
Though Wimbledon is a pretty big deal today, the very first tournament was scheduled in 1877 as a fundraiser for England's preferred sport of the day. Name that sport.
Okay.
We're talking 1877.
Wow.
And it wasn't Wimbledon.
Right.
Right? So what was England's preferred sport of the day? All right?
Okay.
You get that? The first email with the correct answer wins a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email edward@sportsecon101.com. The answer to that question. Don't touch that dial. When we come back, we're going to have some closing comments on Sports Econ 101.
And Al keeps trying to call me back. What's going on here?
Call him and just say we'll have to do it another time.
It's not a big deal. Jeez. You don't need to worry. Let's see.
You might even try to call me, too. Maybe he did say 3:30.
Says, I'm at home. I haven't heard from you guys. That's weird. Yeah. Just call him back real quick.
Yeah.
Let him know. We'll do something with him next week or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Hey, Al. Hey, hey, Al, sorry we missed you there. I tried calling you earlier, but you weren't answering, so no big deal. We'll get... Sure. Oh, my God. Is he still around? Oh, that's great. Is he a big Hoops fan? Really? How cool is that? Yeah. Sure. Oh, that's great. I just was listening to him and Eddie Harris as I was driving over here to San Rafael on Swiss. Yeah, compared to what in Swiss Movement. Yeah, great album. Oh, that's great! Wow, he's one of my favorites, man. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, let's do it in a couple weeks. No big deal. We managed okay, so don't worry about it, Al. Thanks so much. See you at the game tonight. I will be there. I'll be there. I'll try to come by and say hi. All right. Bye-bye. It was funny, Alice apologized. He said he was on the phone with Les McCann, the jazz musician who's like in his 80s, like Al, and he's a good friend. He goes, I just forgot the time. We were having such a good time talking. We were talking basketball. That's funny. All right.
Here we go.
go.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Third and final trivia question. Though Wimbledon is a pretty big deal today, the very first tournament was scheduled in 1877 as a fundraiser for England's preferred sport of the day. Name that sport.
It's got to be either cricket or soccer.
You ready for this?
Horse racing.
It was croquet.
Croquet was
Back
the number
then,
one
it
sport?
was croquet all across the
Wow.
pond, as they say. Crazy, huh?
I always thought of croquet as kind of a sport for the super rich, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I'd see people sitting out on a little, grassy knoll area and just sort of with crumpets and tea. Hey, let's get sticky wickets.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Wimbledon was created to
Sticky
raise
wickets.
money for pony-drawn roller for the croquet lines.
Pony-drawn roller.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it's funny. I was thinking of croquet. There's a place up in Northern California here that has croquet lawns.
Really?
Yeah.
You can play croquet.
You can play croquet. Yeah, it's a professional croquet.
I used to play
course.
croquet when I was a little kid.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had lawn that was not really even and all that.
Yeah.
But this is a really
Wow.
professional one. So my daughter, literally, she's 7 years old, and we're trying to explain the game to her. And we said, okay, now, she goes, where do I hit it? And I go, well, in order to do really well on this one, you got to hit it all the way over there. It must have been 80 feet, and she did it.
Wow.
80 feet. Even the pros.
You just got a good swing, huh?
Yeah, obviously.
She turned out to be a good softball player?
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she didn't play in college, but that's how it goes. All right. Here's our thoughts for the day. In all my years of play, I never saw an ump deliberately make an unfair decision. They really call him as they saw him. Who said that?
Boy.
Honus Wagner said that.
Honus Wagner was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Unlike Ty Cobb, his contemporary, who was not a nice
Not
guy.
a nice guy, exactly.
He used to argue with the umpires all the time.
Of course.
And spit at him. And spike his opponents.
Yep. All
Yeah.
those stories. Okay.
Yeah.
Tommy Lasorda said, baseball is like driving. It's the one who gets home safely that counts.
That's a good one. I like that. Tommy always had some good little homilies.
He did. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, giving away more free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long. Good.
All right. Good.
All right, boss.
All right, I'm up to the Warriors.
You up to the Warriors.
Warriors.
Come out to play. You ever see that movie?
Warriors come out to play?
Well,